Hello, hello. How are you doing, Gwen?
Hello, I'm not bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I've been very excited to get things started for two different reasons. One, because we are
Mm.
running GenAI, the theme, for the first time. And of course, we have you on the opening ceremony for the first time. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm a little bit nervous, I can't lie, but I'm really looking forward to getting on with what's going to happen this week. I'm really excited about all of the things that are happening. So I think
Well,
it's going to be a really great time. Mm.
every time we have another streamer here, we ask the chat to give them all the love and make them feel at home. So I'm going to ask the chat to do the same right now. Say hi's, hellos, tell Quinn about all the different experiences that you've had going to Quinn's stream. I'm sure you've watched Quinn at several other Global Hack Weeks and you love the way Quinn presents all the different learnings that Quinn has for you all. So go around, say hi to Quinn, say hi to everybody else in the chat as well. And if you are on our Discord server already, this is also a good time to say hi to everybody in there and remind them that we are live here. Call your friends over, have them all watch this together. Or if you are, maybe watch partying together from a different location somewhere on a different Discord server somewhere. Drop a screenshot on the Discord server. Let us know that you've all gathered together to do this. We would really, really love to see all the good things that's happening throughout the week. I see a lot of highs and hellos in the chat. Looks like we have people from all across the globe.
All over the place, yeah.
Queen, there's a question for you in the chat. Do you have an answer to this?
Do I have okay, I don't think I have a favorite airplane off the top of my head. So maybe that's a disappointing answer. I'm not like super into airplanes, which is, I don't know, maybe that's unusual. I feel like a lot of people are.
Maybe not. I
Do you
think
have
that
a
question.
favorite plane?
I think that question is coming out because I am hugely into airplanes and I'm an aviation guy. So
Ah,
this is probably someone who knows that and is trying to test your airplane knowledge. So
I see, I see. Wow, that's very impressive. What's your favorite plane then, Siddharth?
well, this is going to be too specific, but there's a company called Gulfstream that produces airplanes, smaller ones, private jets. They have a model called G650. Getting into too specific things here, but I love them for the range. For I'm struggling to have that here. Geometric planes. That's interesting.
I love that. A bit of a maths pun. I'm a maths guy, I've got to say. So I approve. I approve.
That's correct. But this looks like a good time for us to get started with introductions. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get
Of
into it.
course. I will kick us off. My name is Siddharth. If we've probably not met earlier, I think there's one person here who's seen me around and we've probably talked earlier. But for everybody else here who may be meeting me for the first time, I'm Siddharth and I work as a first party events coordinator at Major League Hacking, which means that I get to work on all of the different digital events that you get to join. Global Hack Weeks are one of them. You've probably gone to several more Global Hack Weeks. If you've ever gone to digital hackathons that we host on MLH Community Discord, that's also an event that you get to work on. I always love the excitement that you bring in when you come and join these events. Like I said, the fun fact for me this time around is that we're doing this theme for the first time, and I'm even more excited that Quinn's joining me for this one. Quinn, do you want to go forward and introduce yourself now?
Sure. So I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. I'm a student. I'm doing my master's next year. And currently, I'm really interested in GenAI. So this is like a really exciting week for me. I'm specifically interested in how we can evaluate GenAI and how we can think about what is right for different situations and how to test that. So I'll be talking about that later in my streams if you want to come check them out too. All right. I think let's just jump in. Welcome to Global Hack Week. We're super excited to share what's in store. And to begin with, Global Hack Weeks are hosted by Major League Hacking. And there might be some of you out there who don't know who Major League Hacking are, who we are. And don't worry, we can talk you through that. So we run the global hacker community. That includes events, programs, opportunities, just like this one. And through these, you can learn new skills, meet people, and just become part of our community. It's our mission to empower hackers just like you. And in joining us here, you are joining over 1 million hackers, which I cannot believe. It's such a big number, but over 1 million hackers who are part of our community. So if this is your first Global Hack Week, this is a massive welcome. We are really excited to have you here. But if you are new, maybe you're not actually sure what Global Hack Week is. So maybe Siddharth, you can tell us what we're doing.
Of course, I would love to. Well, Global Hack Weeks are what we call as hacker festivals, and we run one of them each month. You can imagine this being a more friendly event where you get to interact with other hackers and also learn a new skill. For this time, for this month, we have the theme GenAI. But if you've been at other events, you may have seen us do an open source week, API week, and a lot of other things related to technology. But this week is specifically going to be about GenAI. But that doesn't mean that we will strictly be only doing things around that theme. You will find a lot of design challenges. You will find a lot of other important things and very essential things like getting started with the programming language. TLDR, there's going to be a lot that all of you can get indulged in. Other than that, you will get to go to technical streams, workshops, panel discussions, and also challenges that you can work on throughout the week. So this is going to be a really, really fun-filled week is what I'm trying to tell you here. But what exactly makes GenAI Week special, if you ask? It's all about the exciting partners and the resources that they bring along and the access that you get to all of these amazing tools throughout the week. Well, first of all, I want to give a huge shout out and a warm welcome to ARM because they're coming in for the first time to a Global Hack Week. If you've not heard of ARM yet, ARM provides the industry's most efficient and highest performing compute platform with more than 300 billion ARM based chips shipped to date, which I know is a very big number. And it took me a while to comprehend how big that number could be. And a fun fact about ARM here is that even the world's biggest technology companies are innovating on ARM. And imagine the kind of technologies that they work on, and imagine the kind of opportunities that you're going to get interacting with the team themselves and getting to learn so much about the ARM architecture and all of the different things. If you have been someone who's looking forward to get started with hardware, or maybe are into the hardware ecosystem already. So to kick things off, we're going to have a workshop with them at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's your first chance to get in touch with them, understand all the good things that they have to talk about during the stream, and keep all of your questions ready because this is going to be a very interactive one as well. But other than that, you're going to have a lot of beginner-friendly technical challenges that you can work on, which gets you a lot of understanding around the ARM architecture, a lot of understanding of hardware in general. Also, because this is GenAI week, you're going to learn of how these LLMs, GenAIs are going to be working on ARM servers and how you can make things run very efficiently. So all of that and a lot more is coming to you. The first chance for you to interact with the team is going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern during their workshop. Well, having introduced you to ARM, I would also want to welcome Clarify because this is also their first time coming to a Global Hack Week. You will get a chance to interact with them twice throughout the week. The first one is going to be a workshop at 10 a.m. Eastern today. There's going to be another workshop at 11 a.m. Eastern on day 3. That's going to be on Sunday. Well, if you have not heard of Clarify yet, Clarify simplifies how individual developers like all of you and teams create, share, and run enterprise at scale. Throughout the week, you're going to get a lot of access to all the AI content and tools they have for them, including access to their playground, which is called Clarify Playground, where you can use all of the predefined, pre-installed models and build a lot of things using them. Well, I'm sure for a lot of you here, this may be the first time that you're getting introduced to Clarify. Don't worry about anything at all. The workshop that's going to happen at 10 a.m. Eastern is where you're going to get a 101 kind of a session where you get introduced to the platform and how and what it looks like completely. They're also going to give you a walkthrough of how you can solve the global hack week challenges that's related to Clarify. So make sure to go sign up there, not just to understand Clarify, which you should definitely do, but also to understand how you can use Clarify to solve these beginner-friendly challenges that you have access to throughout the week. So a lot more of excitement will be added in there during those streams. Who do we have next, Quinn?
Well, next up, we've got Figma. And if you're not familiar with Figma, Figma is a web-based design tool. With it, you can build a bunch of different things. You can create and share and test designs. And you can do this for websites or mobile apps or any other digital projects really, you can create a Figma education account and unlock all of the professional features completely for free as a student. And that includes Figma Dev Mode, which we're going to be talking about a bit more later, but it's a really great way to bring your ideas into reality. With it, you can get code snippets straight from the designs that you make, which are basically production ready. So it's a really awesome tool to quickly get started, especially with front end. We're going to be having workshops on this at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on day 3. And again, as always, some really great beginner-friendly design challenges to work on. We're also going to be joined by GitHub, which I imagine is a familiar name to many of you, but GitHub is a go-to tool for developers. It's really great when you want to track and manage your project changes, but also when you want to collaborate with other people in a team. And if you're kind of gearing up to go to a hackathon in person, maybe, this is an awesome tool that you definitely need to know how to use. I really recommend it. We've got some amazing resources for you if you sign up for the GitHub Student Developer Pack. You can do that by our link, which is up on the screen, and you can get it even faster. So make sure you use that. And it will get you access to a ton of free things like Copilot, if you've heard of GitHub Copilot, or even other free credit and tools like Auth and so on for your projects. We'll be running a workshop called Get Good with Git, and that will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today or 11 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And so if you want to learn a little bit more how to use Git, the underlying structure, head along to those. What have we got next, Siddharth?
We have another exciting partner who's going to come afterwards, who's going to be Oracle Database. Well, you again have 2 different workshops that you can attend with them, which is going to be the first one at 11 a.m., which is a couple of hours from now. The other one is going to be at 1 p.m. today, which is again a couple of hours more than that. But if this is your first time listening to us talking about Oracle Database or even hearing of that name, a fun fact about them is that about 94% of Fortune Global companies, Fortune Global 100 companies use Oracle Database, which should tell all of us that it's a really important tool for you to understand, build the skills that you need to be able to work with them. Because if you are looking for a full-time opportunity to get hired somewhere, or if you're looking for your next internship, this is a tool that the industry uses. This is a database that folks have been using and have been believing in. So this is your chance to get yourself prepared to stand out of the crowd, and the next time that you go and maybe talk to a recruiter or try and build your resume, this is going to really impact the resume when you're going to build it. So make sure you go to both of those workshops and also attend the beginner-friendly challenges that you'll have throughout the week. Well, with that, I think it's also now time for us to talk about a lot of logistics and make sure that you are prepared and ready to get access to all of the different resources throughout the week. So the first thing that we want you to do, and we're going to drop the link in the chat as well, is for you to go to this link, that's mlh.link/GHW, and join the main event. When we say join the main event, what you need to do is to go to the website and register and make sure you're also checked in. How do you do that? When you are on this page, on that link, you're going to find something similar to that screenshot on your on your screens right now. Click on the blue button that says register and make sure it says that you've also successfully checked in. For context, checking in only gets enabled about an hour before the stream time. So you would have to come back to make yourself check in. Whenever you have checked in, we get to know what you as a community are really loving to see and what we should continue to do. Gives us a lot of idea of what the community would want us to do. And up and above that, you also get access to points and you also earn swag. We'll talk about swag and points. I'm sure you're really excited to know of that, but we'll talk about that a little later. But for you to be eligible to get swag and points, we want you to check into each live stream you attend. And what do we mean by that? There's going to be also a link that we will drop in the chat right now for you to check it out and understand how things work. If you go to the link that I just dropped in the chat, this is a registration page for this opening ceremony, and you're going to get a link like this for each stream that you attend. All you have to do is go to this page, click on the register button, and make sure that you're checked in. If by any chance the streamer forgets to share this link, make sure you remind them, because this is going to be very important for you to earn points throughout the week. Now, talking of swag, I'm sure you're most excited to get to know of this. Quinn, I'll let you do this one.
Awesome. Oh, I am so excited to talk about swag. This is one of my favorite things. Actually, on that note, maybe everyone should share their favorite item of swag in the chat. I'd really like to hear. Maybe it's something you've already received, like a really cool sticker, or maybe a t-shirt, or maybe it's something that you're really hoping to get in the future. But tell us your favorite bit of swag. We really want to hear that. And without further ado, let's talk about the different ways that you can earn it at this Global Hack Week. So first up, you can get digital swag. So if you want to post on social media about the project that you're doing or anything that you're excited about for this week, you can use the Global Hack Week frame, and that's available on mlh.link/GHW. So please use this frame, tag us. We really want to see what you're up to. We're really excited, and I hope you are too. But next, and this is maybe very exciting, you can earn some swag that we're going to ship to you, and you just need to do 3 easy things. This is for the basic swag. So first off, you need to register and check in, and that's at mlh.link/GHW. So Siddharth just talked through that. And the second thing is you need to submit your address. So if you do that at mlh.link/address, we can then ship it out to you. Without that, we can't reach you. So make sure to do that. And then the final thing is to complete the featured challenges on ghw.mlh.io/challenges. And those will be really clear and featured. So you can check them out on that URL, and they'll have all the instructions that you need. But maybe you want more swag. Well, don't worry, we have bonus swag, and you can earn bonus swag by doing 2 easy steps. So even easier. The first thing is to register for season launch week. So that'll be happening next month. That's for July, but it's actually in just 2 weeks. It's at the start of the month. And that's because we are super excited to start off the launch for next season's hackathons. I hope you're really excited about hackathons that are going to be starting next season too. And I really want to see you all there. We're going to be chatting about loads of different exciting things coming up. So make sure to register for season launch week. And the next thing is to check into 5 or more live events. So those might be workshops or similar on Twitch. And like we've just talked about, you can check in with the links which the MLH will provide in the chat. So that's how to get the bonus swag. But maybe that's still not quite enough for you. So we have surprise prizes. And this is for active hackers throughout the week, hackers who are really getting engaged and getting involved. We really want to see you interacting and having fun as part of a community. And so we want to give out prizes. And actually, I think, Siddharth, should we give out a prize now? Do you think we should do that?
For sure, yes. And because this is your first time on an opening ceremony, I want you to select the winner for us.
So I actually asked that question earlier about your favorite swag because I want to pick one out. So I'm just scrolling back through to see if I've got a favorite answer. Let's take a look. I'm actually gonna pick this one. Stickers and postcards. And I tell you, the reason I've picked this one is because I don't see postcards very often, but I really love the idea because especially when I travel to other events, I like to have something which I can remember it by, and I think postcards are a really sweet way of doing that. So I think this is such a good answer. I love postcards as swag. So to claim this, what you need to do is take a screenshot while we've got your comment pinned up on the screen here. So to get and redeem your surprise prize, make sure to screenshot this. And then what you can do is head on over to the Discord, and there's a channel where you can put in a support ticket, and then we'll walk you everything that you need to know to receive this. But first, maybe we should talk a little bit about what Discord is going to be like and how we interact with you there. So Siddharth, do you want to take that?
Of course, yes. And congratulations to this person who just got a surprise prize. Take a screenshot, hold on to that for a little bit. I will tell you how you can go and claim your surprise prize. But talking of Discord, you've probably already figured out that this is where you can claim your surprise prize. But there's a lot more that's happening on Discord. There is going to be all the announcements coming in. This is also a place for you to talk to thousands of other hackers who are going to be joining in for Global Hack Week. And there's going to be several more people who have been part of the MLH community. So make sure you are there learning from each other, sharing your knowledge with each other, and make this the most exciting time of your lives. What you need to do is just go to this link. That's discord.mlh.io. And that's where you'll get access to all of the different channels in there. But if you are joining specifically for Global Hack Week, we would want to make sure that you have the required channels and required access to those channels. What you need to do is look for a channel kind of a thing on the top left that says channels and roles. This is a set of questions which you will have to answer to get roles specific to those channels and specific to the activity that you're doing on Discord. Once you've clicked on channels and roles, you should be looking for a question that asks you if you are joining for the next Global Hack Week. That's GenAI Week. Just click on yes as the response down below. That should get you access to all the channels that you need for the weekend. If I were in your place and I had to verify if I had access to those channels, I would go ahead and look for a channel called GenAI Week. That's going to be the channel where everybody's going to be interacting and talk about different streams that's happening during the weekend. We've also seen folks come together and talk about how they're solving challenges this weekend. There's also a couple of voice channels where people get together and do watch parties throughout the week. So there's a lot of chatter happening there. Just make sure you have access to this, and you should be good to go. But if at any point of time you have to get in touch with us, the MLH team, there's also something called the support tickets. While for any generic queries that you may have related to what global hack weeks are, or what kind of a stream can you go to, or any other technical query that you run into throughout the week, we would recommend that you drop it in one of the public channels or one of the generic channels, such as general chat, technical chat, or community support, because the community is always faster to respond than we are able to manage, and they're far more knowledgeable than all of us collectively here can ever be. So it's a perfect way for you to make a few friends and also get a lot of knowledge from the community while you ask them questions. But if at any time you have to ask a question that requires you to share any sort of personally identifiable information, say your email as an example, we would then absolutely want you to create a support ticket that's going to be under a section called help on your Discord screens. If you ever have any trouble finding that, just make sure that you post on one of the public channels and at the rate one of us, we would be there to help you out. But the TLDR is for anything where you need to share your email or anything else that's personally identifiable information. Open up a support ticket and let us know that you have a query. Give us a lot of details about what your query is, and we'll be there to help you out. But for the friend earlier who, I'll pin that chat again, who won the surprise prize a little ago, this is your place to go and give us those screenshots. Send us that screenshot, tell us that you won a surprise prize, and one of us will be there around right after the opening ceremony to add you to that list of winners. And congratulations again for winning the prize. Well, we also have a lot of challenges that you're going to work on throughout the week to upskill yourself. Quinn, do you want to get them introduced to that?
Yeah, of course. So, like Siddharth says, challenges are a really great way to take what you're learning and all of the new tools and experiences that you're getting and put them into practice. However, do not worry, you don't have to do all of the challenges. You can do as many or as few as you want. And certainly, we recommend if you've got other things happening, maybe you've got a busy weekend or maybe you've got school next week, don't replace what you're meant to be doing with the challenges. These are a really great way to build on top of what you're already doing and augment everything else that's going on. So like we said, we've got challenges to keep you hacking, and these can be a wide range of things. So from short coding prompts to maybe design challenges or even longer challenges. And we also really love to see other things that you're working on, even if you've got personal projects. And we'll maybe talk more about that later. You can check out all of these challenges at the dashboard, and that's at ghw.mlh.io/challenges. We mentioned a little bit earlier about how to that you can submit these, and you can check them all out here. They have instructions for you to go through. So it should be all nice and intuitive, but we'll have questions later. So if you've got any queries, you can ask us. If you do have any issues, we've also got a bug report channel in Discord. We're using a new tool for you to submit to. We've been using it for, I think, a couple of Global Hack Weeks. We're really excited about it, and we really hope that you're enjoying it as much as we are. But if you do have any issues, please let us know. We want you to have a really great experience. So challenges close on the 19th of June, and that's at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So you've got about 6 days. And like I said earlier, you definitely don't have to do all of the challenges. So let's say you do have a busy weekend. That's okay. You can work on them later in the week. There's loads of time. Also, to keep track of how far you've got and what progress you've made, we send out a daily points email. That will be starting from Sunday. And that's so that you've got a little bit of extra time to get some extra points, complete some challenges, and earn your swag. And this will give you an update on what else you might need to do to get your swag and how many points you have. Like we said, challenges are a really great way to get some hands-on experience. But where does all of that learning happen, Siddharth?
Of course, when you're not working on all of those challenges, there are live streams that you can go to. And I was going through the chat here, and it looks like a friend here is confused on what's happening. Don't worry. I think the most important thing for you to do right now is just be there on Discord and then just go to these live streams, which I'm going to talk about right now. But if you still have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll have a dedicated Q&A section right at the end of the stream, and we'll have a lot of time to go through your questions and help you out. And everybody here in the chat or also in our Discord server is here to help you out and help you navigate through this week, and absolutely make sure that we'll have a very, very good experience together. So don't be worried yet. Just hang on for a little bit more and we'll get to your questions a little later. But when you're not working on challenges and when you probably have some time to come and attend streams, we will definitely want you to do that. You can watch them on Twitch and YouTube channels, and I'm sure you've figured that out already because you are watching us live right now. For anybody who would require closed captions, we would request you to use YouTube because there's a way for you to activate them when you're watching a live stream. But talking of live streams, I think we would want to add that to that excitement and tell you what's going to happen on day one. And you're going to find us giving you a reminder and recap of all of the different themes that happen on a specific day, every day of this Global Hack Week. But if you are interested in going and looking at what's going to happen throughout the week, that's your link, which is ghw.mlh.io/schedule. That has the schedule for all of the different days, all of the 6 days, I should say, of the week. But kicking us off today, right after the Global Hack Week opening ceremony, is Clarify. And like I said, Clarify team is going to come around at 10 a.m. Eastern to give you not just an introduction to the platform, which is going to be super exciting to begin with, but they're going to also help you understand how you can complete the challenges that you have throughout the week. So that sounds like a really good opportunity for you to understand the tool, work on different challenges throughout the week, get all the hands-on experience that you need to make things really, really go in a successful manner. So make sure that you stick around right after opening ceremony. We'll give you a short break so you can go grab some water and take a quick break. But come back at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's going to be 7:30 p.m. IST to join the Clarify team and learn from them directly. Who's next, Quinn?
So next up, we have Oracle Database, and they'll be running a workshop on how to build an innovative Q&A interface powered by GenAI using Oracle Apex. And Oracle Apex is one of the world's most popular enterprise low-code application platforms. It enables you to build very secure and scalable web and mobile apps, and you can deploy them anywhere via the cloud or on premises. There's loads of options. You can join the Oracle Database team at 11 a.m. Eastern Time or 8:30 p.m. IST. And as Siddharth mentioned earlier, this is a really important tool used in industry. So this is a great way to engage with people who are developing it, and who can teach you the best skills that you can get. Using this, you can really bring the power of LLMs to life using Oracle Apex. Who have we got next?
Of course. Before I talk about the next team here, I see a question here about what platform to join in. I hope we covered that a little early for you. But if you are on Twitch, if you are on YouTube, you get to watch the same content, and the chat that you put down on the chat boxes of these platforms are all visible to us on the screen. So if you ever have a question, feel free to write down that in the chat box of the platform you are on. But you get to watch the same content both on Twitch and YouTube. I saw another question here about the streams being recorded. Yes, the streams are absolutely recorded, and that's a feature that YouTube gives us. Whenever a live stream ends, the recording for that live stream will be made available directly on YouTube. So the if you were to maybe miss a stream or a couple of them because of schools or exam, don't worry about that. Just come back later, go to Major League Hacking's YouTube channel, and you will have that content right up there. But to tell you a lot more about what's coming up next, we will then have the ARM team coming and joining us for the workshop, where they're going to help you understand and help you in real time build a chatbot, a large language model chatbot using PyTorch and a tool on their platform, where you're going to not just understand how things work on the ARM servers and what ARM architectures look like, but you get to do all of that real time. And this is going to be a very interactive hands-on workshop that you get to go to, which will happen at 12 p.m. Eastern, which I think is roughly about 2.5 hours from now. That's going to be 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you are there, ask them all the questions, show them all the love. This is also their first time coming to a Global Hack Week, and make sure that you make the most of it. Who's next?
Awesome. So next up, we've got another workshop from Oracle Database, and this will be focused on how you can interact with your data, and you can chat with it using autonomous database using Select AI. I'm really into data. I'm sure there are some other data nerds out there. I love everything about data, whether it's visualizations or stats. And this is a really awesome way to use Oracle's autonomous database Select AI. And using that, you can turn natural language questions into real answers super fast. So if maybe you've got a big database data set, and you kind of have a question about it, but you don't really know how to go about answering it, this is an awesome workshop for you to learn how to do that. You can join the team at 1 p.m. Eastern Time or 10:30 p.m. IST.
As a fanboy of Gemini, I am really excited to tell you about this next. This is going to be a stream where you get introduced to Google AI Studio. I'm sure you've probably gone to a few Gemini demos that we have run. If you've ever gone to an MLH hackathon in person, you've seen us do those demos also. But this time around, we're going to have someone from the Google Cloud team coming in to get you introduced to Google AI Studio. If you've not known about Google AI Studio before, if you've not maybe used Gemini before, Well, Google AI Studio is your fastest way to start building with Gemini and the family of multimodal generative AI models that lives in the Gemini ecosystem. It simply put a large ecosystem of large language models that help you does all of the magic of Gen AI just using one platform that's called Google AI Studio. Make sure that you sign up for this because you're not just going to get an idea of what Google AI Studio is, but you get to interact with the team directly and understand what they're thinking of and how this is going to be built in the future, and maybe also hear a little bit about the roadmap of the tool as well. So make sure you get signed up for this. This is going to happen at 2 p.m. Eastern, a little later for folks in India, but this is going to be around at 11:30 p.m. IST.
Awesome. Next up, we've got Ryan Lalu running Get Good with Git. And this will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time or half past midnight IST. So pretty late, but maybe some of those night owls will be excited for this one. Git is the underlying structure used in things like GitHub, and it's super important for tracking changes and things like that in your projects. And maybe you're a complete beginner and you don't really know what a commit is. Well, don't worry, Ryan will talk you through that. And maybe you're a bit of an expert, but you still struggle with conflicts perhaps, or branches or rebasing. All of these things can get pretty complicated. And don't worry, Ryan does a great job at breaking it down, making it really simple and easy to understand. So that's at 3 p.m. Eastern Time or half past midnight IST.
And talking of everything AI, ML, and Gen AI, I think it's best for us to start from the absolute basics and understand what neural networks are and take it forward from there. Well, Bully is going to come around with a session on getting introduced to neural networks using a framework or a platform called TensorFlow. This is going to be happening at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 1:30 a.m. IST. This is where you take your first steps into AI. Make sure that you understand all the basics while you're in day one, and get ready for all the different content that's going to come in the further days.
Awesome. Next up, you can take a little break from hacking, get a refresh, take a rest. You can join Way at 6 p.m. Eastern Time or 3:30 a.m. IST, so very early morning for those of you out there. You can play Wikipedia races with Way. Now, I've never played Wikipedia races, but I've seen some videos. It looks super fun, and I think Way is a wizard at running these types of games. So I'm probably going to tune in for that one. I think it should be good fun, and I need a break from my own hacking as well too.
Well, that's interesting to know that you've never played Wikipedia races. Do you have a fun MLH mini event that we play all the time?
Well, recently I've done a couple of mini events for Tetris, but I'm very bad. And I made a promise to some hackers a few months ago that I would train up and get good, right? Because Way keeps joining when I'm doing these mini events, and he just obliterates me. Which Way is very good at Tetris. If you've never played Tetris with Way, so I'm learning Tetris, but we'll see.
Well,
Maybe someone's winning this week.
I'm sure we're running Tetris multiple times this week. You probably should join in and brush up your skills on Tetris. And maybe I'll try Wikipedia races later today when Way is going to run it. Well, next up, we will have Alberto coming in to understand or kind of show you how you can run these generative AI models. I'm sure all of us have used them on a cloud platform at some point, but it's also important to know how things run in the background and how you can set everything on your local machine and use it all for yourself. This is going to happen at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4:30 a.m. IST. Again, early for folks in India. Don't worry about attending this live. We really want you to get that sleep. So make sure you come back again when when you're done with your school, when you're done with everything that you need to get done with in a regular day, and come back and watch those recordings on YouTube.
Awesome. Next up, we've got an intro to Linux. This is with Billy. This will be 10 p.m. Eastern Time or 7:30 a.m. IST, and Bully's going to really break down the basics of Linux for us. Maybe you haven't interacted with Linux much, but as you kind of do more and more hacking and building projects, you'll find it really useful. Certainly with AI, if you're using any kind of compute cluster, often they're Linux-based systems, and so this is a really awesome thing to have a bit of an idea around, and an introduction to that sounds perfect.
Well, I personally am really bad at anything art related, but I really, really admire people who can doodle or make a different piece of art. And here, UT is going to help you do all of that in a digital platform. How cool is that? So you're going to get around with UT for a track, a 4-part series, where you're going to build a doodle platform in React.js and while I was talking to UT about this, he sent me a small screenshot of how this is going to look like, and I was very excited to see what you all are going to build together. Make sure you sign up for this one. That's going to be part one at 5 a.m. Eastern. That's 2:30 p.m. IST. We'll also have part two happen right after that at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's 4:30 p.m. IST. This can get a little overwhelming if you had to go to two different streams, but UT does a great job in letting you take breaks. You also don't have to be overwhelmed with a lot of content that's going to be delivered. Like we say every time, make sure that you're taking enough breaks, make sure that you're feeling energized, and make sure that you do all these different important things that you need to do on a regular day.
Great. Next up is an introduction to GenAI dev tools. This is a 101 workshop. This is with Vashini, and it will be at 9 a.m. Eastern Time or 6:30 p.m. IST. So hopefully a pretty nice time for everyone all around the world, I think. And this is really an introduction to all of the essential tools and platforms you need as a developer when you're using GenAI. And I think there are a lot of them out there, and it can feel very overwhelming. So I think this is a really great way to get a handle on the best ones to use and the really core ones that you need to have a grasp of before you start to explore other ideas and tools.
And then Ray is going to come back and run a workshop that's going to be about making better hacks faster with GitHub Copilot. If you've probably not used GitHub Copilot yet, this is an AI companion. Think of this as having another teammate on your hackathon team. But this is going to be helping you with generating code, identifying bugs, and also fixing bugs, adding documentation. Also helps you understand other folks' code. So much to learn from this and so much help that you can get from a tool like this. All of that knowledge, Way is going to pass this to you and show you a live demo of how things work on GitHub Copilot. This is going to be happening at 11 a.m. Eastern at 8:30 p.m. IST.
Great. So Vashini will be then wrapping up day one in Today in Global Hack Week. So that'll be happening, I guess, a little bit over 24 hours from now. So 12 p.m. Eastern Time or 9:30 p.m. IST. And this will be a little overview of everything that's happened in day one and also what's coming up in day two. So this is a really, really great place to get excited about what's next, get a little update, and maybe ask any questions that you have. Maybe you've had a bit of an issue with a challenge or something, you really want to speak to someone about it, well, you can do so here. And on that note, we really want to hear what's working for you, maybe what isn't as well. We want Global Hack Weeks to be even better. We want you to have the best experience possible. And so we really want to have all of your feedback. You can give us feedback at mlh.link/GHW feedback. And there you can fill this out for any of the streams that you attend this week. There'll be a few questions, and they'll be asking things like what you felt was good, what you liked, maybe what you think could be improved as well. And we'd really love to know more about what you think. And next, actually, this is really exciting to me. If you want, you can demo at GenAI Week. And you can submit for this at mlh.link/GHW demo, and you could potentially demo later. We're really excited to invite hackers to do this. So you can link your projects to us in this survey at this link, and then you stand a chance to demo it to the whole MLH community on a stream just like this. So we're really excited about this. I don't get to demo too often, actually. Siddharth, have you demoed recently? Do you demo often?
I think it's been a while, and while we're talking of demos at GenAI Week, I think it's only fair if we begin by running a demo ourselves and show folks the magic of GenAI. What do you think?
Wow, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
Then how about we build a chat app in less than 5 minutes just by using Gemini as a tool? Do you think you would want to time me? And I'd ask everybody in the chat also to time me, and we'll see if we're able to get that done in 5 minutes. Does that sound like a good challenge?
That sounds very challenging, very impressive. Let's do it. We can time you. We can time you in the chat. Let's go.
Let's begin. I'll get us to my VS Code window, which you should see on your screen right now. Just to do some explanation to begin with, you should see 3 different sections on my screen right now. On the left is just a simple file explorer, wherein I have opened this file called prompts.txt, which I'll get to in a minute. But there should also be another file called .env, which is just what is called a file that contains all your environment variables or secrets that you have associated with the project. This is simply put the collection of Gemini API for me in this case, or any API keys that you're using for a project that you're building together. But if you are now looking at this section here, this is about all the prompts that I'm going to use to talk to Gemini and get it to build this chat app. I'll walk you through what I have in there in just a little bit. But quickly switching to the third section of my screen, you would see an extension called RuCode. If you've used Cursor or maybe Klein before, this is similar to that, where you can use this tool to interact with Gemini, the tool that we're going to use to make everything come to reality. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to copy all these prompts that I see in here and paste it in the chat box here for Ru to help me interact with Gemini and get things started. While that's happening, I'm going to walk you through a few steps that is mentioned in here. I begin by telling Gemini that I want it to build a single page Python Flask web app. I chose Python and Flask because I'm most familiar with that language and the framework associated to it. But if you are maybe a JavaScript person, a Ruby person, or whatever language or framework that you really like, you can use Gemini to do any of that and all of that literally. I am then kind of telling it what are different steps it should follow, starting with follow best practices, use a virtual environment whenever you're installing libraries. I wanted to use Tailwind CND and a lot of different things that I'm specifying. Think of this as a way when you normally interact with a GenAI platform. I am talking to Gemini, but in this case, to save time, I had all of those prompts in a particular file. But when you are doing this in real time, you should be talking to Gemini as you would with a different or just another hackathon team member, right? Just have that conversation, lead it to where you want it to go. If you are looking at all the different activity that's happening in my terminal right now, Gemini was quick to identify that we had to activate virtual environment, and also identified that there are a couple of different libraries that we would need to make that happen. And it's now installing all of that itself. It looks straight out of a sci-fi movie, and I promise it's going to look more like a science fiction while it generates all the code for us. But the other thing that I always point out to folks here is whenever we use GenAI, we need to understand that it never can all be 100% correct. GenAI is also learning with you. And think of this as a friend that you have on your team or a team member on your hackathon team. You need to be having conversations with it. You need to go with it and lead it to where you want it to be. The conversation is very important in making sure that you try and talk to it about all the errors that you get. All of that different steps is of really is really important for us to get to the goal that we would want to see. Now that all of the different files and all of the different libraries that we wanted has been installed, now is when the magic really starts, where it generates the files that is needed to make Flask run. Starts with a simple Python file, which has all the different logic of what we need to get done with that chat interface. It'll now go forward to create an HTML file, which is what we will see in the front end. And just like that, you will see it now give me a URL that I can use to access the chat that it has created for me. I can see that it's now running that Python file. We should be able to get a link in about a couple of minutes. I'm keeping my fingers crossed all through this, and I'm sure you're still timing me. We should hopefully not be over 5 minutes yet. I see a link in the chat for all of you at home. I've just highlighted that. I'm going to open up a Chrome window, go back, and then just refresh the same link that it gave me in the VS Code terminal to see if anything loads up. I can see it load. It's probably my internet and the bandwidth that's taking a little bit of time. But to me, this looks like a chat interface, keeping my fingers crossed till I'm going to interact with it and find out if it really works. I'm going to start by asking it, who are you? And hit send and wait for the response to come back. It says it's a large language model trained by Google. That tells me it's Gemini. But I'm going to take a step further and ask, do you know Major League Hacking? We just wait to see if it really knows what Major League Hacking is. It looks like it knows about MLH Fellowship, the community, and a lot of interesting things here. So I think the demo went really well and we were able to use this. But if in case you at home were thinking that this is maybe not so real, I want to take this a step further, where I give you all access to use the tool that I just built from the comfort of your home. So I'm going to use this service called ngrok, which will create a public URL for all of us to use. And what you see on the screen right now is that it's probably running on that link. I also have a shortened link created for all of you that you can use, which I'm going to drop in the chat. If you go to that link, and I'll quickly also hit refresh to see what it looks like. It looks like it's working. I'll give it a prompt to make sure it's really, really working. I'd say, hello, who are you? And just like that, a complete magical tool. Like I said, it seems to be working for me here. I'm sure it will be working for you there. There are about 200 of you, 300 of you, to be honest, who are watching us live right now. If all of you were to use this tool together, my laptop may not be able to handle so much bandwidth. So it may crash a couple of times when you use it, but you should be now able to use that tool from the comfort of your home, and tell us in the chat if you're really able to make things work, if you really love what's happening in here. And while we move further to the Q&A section later on, we will stop to take questions. And if you have anything that you need to share, any crazy ideas of what other hacks we should be building, we will love to hear all of that. And uh, having done a successful demo here, I'd want to go back and check if anybody at all was timing me and how much time did I really take.
Oh, let's see if
Were
anyone was
you
timing in the
timing?
chat. I was keeping an eye on the clock. I think you were almost exactly 5 minutes, potentially slightly over, but very, very close. Very, very impressive. So
That's true. And this
yeah.
can always take a little extra based on the internet bandwidth. Now that we are streaming here and also running a lot of things in the background using the internet, it can definitely vary. But I'm sure it looked as magical to all of you at home like it looks to me every time I run this demo. But yeah, I can see a lot of people in the chat as well. I will move it forward and give it to you, Quinn, to take it further.
Great. So I just want to take a pause for a second on a slightly more serious note. Major League Hacking hackathons are a safe space for everyone. By being at this event, you're agreeing to our code of conduct, and that includes mentors, judges, and sponsors too. If you haven't read it already, I really recommend you give it a read. The TLDR is to be respectful above all else. Any forms of abuse or harassment will not be tolerated. At digital events like this one, it's particularly important to remember that there's a human on the other side of the screen, and it's never appropriate to comment on people's appearance, even if it's meant to be a compliment, as it may make people just feel uncomfortable. If you are having any issues, please get in touch with us. You can use the support tickets on Discord, or you can use the phone number and email address that are up here on the screen. And with that, I just want to say another huge thank you to all of our partners. We're really excited to have them with us this week. And I'm hoping that you're excited to get on with their challenges and their workshops and learn a whole bunch of new skills. And now is the time for Q&As. So,
Of course. And I see a lot of people responding to the demo that we did earlier. I can see folks saying that it works. I'm glad to hear. I see this question about how this is different and more effective than simply prompting a new gem. I'm not quite sure what you mean here. If you can maybe give us a few details. Quinn, do you think you have an answer to this?
it's more effective than simply prompting a new gem. I'm not 100% sure. I guess maybe the difference to this versus maybe other GenAI tools that you've used is that it can interact with your whole workspace, right? So it can use your terminal and so on. So it's a bit more efficient than like prompting like a chatbot to try and get code that way. But yeah, maybe you want to clarify your question. We can help you work it out.
Right. If in case you were wondering how this is more efficient than maybe opening up Gemini on a Chrome window and talking to it and getting code out of it, if you notice when I was using Gemini right inside of where I was writing code, Gemini was able to understand and detect what libraries I did not have installed, so it did all of that installation itself. If we were to run into some errors moving forward, Gemini, because it was living inside of where I was writing code, it can understand the errors, it can try and debug it on the go and understand that context and behave accordingly, right? If that was your question, that's probably your answer, but we'll wait for more uh, details that you can give to help us understand what you were asking. Looks like I was around 5 minutes. I think I did a little bit more of explanation, so that's that. But I still was able to hit that 5 minute mark as I promised. The responses need to be passed well. I completely agree. Well, this was a way for us to show you that it's possible to achieve all of that with it. I was personally not paying attention so much into making it well formatted and making it look very beautiful. But yes, you are correct there. You can do a lot more, and you can play around with the prompts that you give to Gemini. And on the go, you can talk to Gemini and say, "Hey, I want it to look like this," or "I want the response to be passed really well. I want all the bold letters to look bold." Do all of that different things while you're talking to it, and you should be able to get that generated while you're working with Gemini. There's again a question here about a workshop on GenAI in finance. That's actually a very interesting topic, and I don't know if any of we've scheduled any of those streams for this time. I will make a note of it, and I'll go back and work with all of our streamers to see if anybody has understanding of finance and would want to run something like this. Unfortunately, around this time this week, we do not have anything related to finance, from my understanding. But we will make sure that we talk to everybody here and maybe get that done for season launch. So make sure you are signed up for that as well.
Mm.
What more questions do we have? And for anybody who dropped questions before we really got into the Q&A section, because you will have a lot going on in the chat, it's probably difficult for us to go back and scroll all the way up and look for your questions. So feel free to drop your questions again in the chat. We are keeping an eye out on anything that's coming in new, and we will be more than happy to answer those for you. I see another question here about this going to be basically wipe coding. The demo I ran falls into that category of what we call as wipe coding. But throughout the week, you will find a mix of a lot of things happening, right? If you remember, and just taking an example here, if you remember the stream that Alberto is going to run about setting up GenAI locally and running this for yourself, that will require a lot of things that you need to do from scratch to set things up and make sure that your machine is compatible with what tools and what models you're able to run. You may find other folks coming in to show you how you can use GenAI as a very powerful tool to create code for yourself and do what you call as toy vibe coding, right? So it's going to be a mix of all of those. Feel free to stop folks while they are streaming and ask them questions. If you think you need more details of it, you should be doing that, and everybody will be really happy to do that for you. Perfect. Do you see any more questions, Quinn?
I don't see a question right now, but I just remembered earlier that there were some people, I think based out of maybe the UK or Europe, asking about time zones. And I just wanted to say that even if maybe over the next day some of the time zones are tricky, there are other things happening later in the week which definitely will be at a time zone for you. There's a bunch of streamers who are based in these time zones as well. I'm one of them, so don't worry. There will be stuff for you if you're based out of Europe too. And we generally have things around the clock every day. So no matter where you are, there's always really great stuff to engage with. I know there's been like lots of questions about different like stream topics and things too. You can check them all out on the schedule, which is at ghw.mlh.io/schedule. Is that right? I think that's right. Yes.
That is correct.
Off the top of my head. There we go, like that. So you can check out the schedule there and see which times work best for you and which ones you're really excited to head along to.
Of course. I see another question related to the demo, which is the workshop with Google later going to be in more detail about the same things? Yes, it's going to be about the same things in much more detail, but also introducing you to different things in that ecosystem that you can make use of. It's going to be even more detailed, even more exciting. If you love the demo, think of this as a way for you to get an hour long of exciting content. So you should definitely go and check that out. Another question here about the Gemini model, the usage of Gemini model being free or paid. This was a completely free demo that I ran. You can do this yourself right now. You can use all of the tools for absolutely free. All you need to do is Google Gemini API key. You will be taken onto a page where you can request or you can create an API key for yourself on the go. Make use of that API key and you will be all set to use Gemini. What other questions do we have? When I know you've been doing a lot of work around AI and Gen AI, is there anything exciting that comes to your mind right now and you would want to maybe tell folks about an interesting development or interesting project that you worked on in this space?
Oh, I suppose one of the really interesting things that's being talked about a lot at the moment is whether Gen AI, like LLMs, are capable of reasoning or not. So probably you've seen, maybe you've interacted with ChatGPT or DeepSeek and you've turned on like the thinking mode and you can see its thoughts. And this is called like chain of thought, and you can kind of see maybe like how it's thinking. And there are some really interesting like research papers if you're into that kind of thing, which talk about, like are they actually thinking? What it's saying it's thinking actually true to the way that it is processing different ideas? So the kind of interpretability side, I think, is really of interest at the moment. There was a paper by some engineers at Apple, which I recommend reading. It came out, I think, a few days ago. So if you're interested in that, Google that pretty much, and it should just come up. So yeah, that's super exciting to me at the moment.
I completely agree. There's so much happening in that space that every day you open up a news channel that you read or anything that's tech news. You learn so much about all of those, and that's also one reason that I'm excited about this week. There's going to be so many new things that folks are going to learn, and I'm going to learn so many new things
Mm.
during this week. Well, I see this question about challenges and what challenges are. Challenges are like smaller projects. You are correct. Um, but it would depend on what challenge you're working on, and that would define how big or small the project is actually going to be. Challenges can be prompts of any type. It can either be for you to just do a simple registration, it can be related to you creating a design, all the way up to you maybe also following a tutorial while you are creating a project for yourself using a specific tool, right? It's going to be a mix of all of those things. When you are on the challenge dashboard, you will find ways to filter the challenges, and you should see filters right on the top. So click on what interests you the most and try and solve those. While this is also a good time for you to experiment and try out new things, I would also encourage you to take up new challenges and do things that may not be in the thing that you're, or in the domain of you being comfortable with them already, right? So uh, a lot of scope for you to experiment with things is what you can do this time around. But yes, it can be a combination of small projects or bigger projects in terms of what you build at hackathons. Um, all right. I think we may be coming to an end of questions and also coming to the end of time here. We should also give folks a couple of minutes to go rest before the next stream. Well, Quinn, but before we wrap up, do you have any parting notes, anything that you would want to share that you feel everybody in the chat should absolutely know to make the most of this week?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think what I'd suggest is, and I know there was maybe like a query about this, just try things. You can build all sorts of different projects with the skills that you can learn in different workshops, and you can take bits from each and combine them together. There's a really great opportunity here to sometimes even use the different skills and combine them into something bigger, which you can do. But also, these are really beginner friendly workshops where you've got streamers who really know what they're talking about. There are some amazing streamers out there streaming this week for you to learn from. So you can ask any questions that you have. This is an awesome opportunity. So just get involved. Don't be shy. It's a great place to learn.
Of course, couldn't have put that better myself. As a reminder, the next stream you're going to is the Clarify 101 stream. A lot about Clarify, a lot about all the challenges that you're going to complete this week with them. But until we see you for the next time, this is our time. We will see you hopefully very, very soon. I know Quinn's going to run a lot of workshops and a lot of streams this time around.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'd probably come back and see you during closing ceremony. Until then, have a lot of fun, and we're going to see you on the other side, if that's fair to say. But have a good day, all of you.
Awesome stuff. See you later.